My entire business at the Blog Marketing Academy is basically a big membership site. And so what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to talk about exactly how my membership site is built and the various tools that go into it so you can kind of see how the plumbing works. So over at blogmarketingacademy.com, my primary platform for the entire business is called The Lab. And so when you go over there and you sign up for the membership, whether you're with the starter membership, which is free, or you upgrade to the pro membership, it's all going to be inside the Lab platform. And that is what we're going to go over today and basically how that is built. Because the cool thing is there's some customization in it, but most of it is using out-of-the-box solutions. So I'm just going to simply tell you what those out-of-the-box solutions are. You can go check them out for yourself and see it might be a good fit for your membership site. Okay, so let's go over to our little split screen here so you can see my screen at the same time. So what we see here is actually the lab itself. So you can see we've got a nice custom dashboard here. Now actually that's not super custom. We'll go over that in just a minute. This is all mostly using out-of-the-box stuff, which is actually really cool. But we've got the online courses, we've got the community here. Let me show you the community. And we've got some layout options in place here. We've got the course library. We're using the same exact system for the roadmap and for the tech library. Similar sort of kind of for office hours, for workshops. We got the document vault, which is our collection of PDF worksheets and stuff like that. We've got the live classroom, which is where we do all of our live events like office hours. And so we've got the live video feed right here from this office. And then we've got the chat room. So the cool thing, the way it works is that when somebody's logged into the lab, this chat room automatically knows who they are. And so they don't have to enter any information or anything. It just addresses them by name, which is the way you want it inside of a membership site, right? If we go up here to services, because this is another interesting aspect, is that people know that I've got the credit system for purchasing either coaching calls with me or tech service. And it's we've got a credit-based system, so people can purchase those credits and they add them to their account. And you can see a history here. This is a pretty new feature that I just put in, so that as those credits are debited off the account, you can see where they went. But as long as you have more than one credit, you'll get access to the scheduler. For tech service credits, my test account has no credits, so it of course meets me with a call to action to say go purchase some, and it will go off and do that. Okay. And then we've got a custom screen under membership and credits where people can actually track their credits and track their usage history and things like that. Usage history, if I can say that right. So you can see there are some interesting platform elements in here that might seem really customized, and some of it is. However, basically, even this credit system is mostly just using out-of-the-box tools. It's just a matter of how I use them. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go over the tools that I use. We're just going to go one by one through them, and I'm going to point them out. We'll spend a little bit of time talking about them. And then at the end, you can basically go off and research these things for yourself. In some cases, if you head all over to the blogmarketingacademy.com, I've got full reviews of some of these tools if you want to step a little bit more into my personal thoughts on them. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing is the theme itself. The look and feel of the lab is BuddyBoss. Okay, so you may be familiar with BuddyBoss. Now there's a two-parter, okay, because the forums and the community and all that is powered by what's known as the BuddyBoss platform. The BuddyBoss platform is a fork off the original BBPress, I believe, and so it is completely free. Okay, if you would like to set up forums and social groups and those types of things inside your site, you can use the BuddyBoss platform for free. What I paid for is the theme itself. So the theme, the BuddyBoss theme, is not a free product. It actually is paid, more or less makes it look sort of like you see here on the screen, which of course you'll probably recognize is pretty close to the way the lab looks, and that's because that's what I'm using. So I'm a massive fan of BuddyBoss. I actually think it probably is one of the best membership site themes I've ever seen. It's designed out of the box to work with things like LearnDash and stuff, which we'll be coming up with later. So it's basically purpose-built for this type of thing. It happens to have a blog theme template built into it, but and you could use this for your entire site if you wanted to, but the blog templates are pretty basic, I'll be honest. That's not its strong suit. Its strong suit is pretty much the membership site component. That's how I use it, and it's a fantastic theme. Okay, now as far as processing orders and stuff like that, I do use ThriveCart. Okay, now a lot of people know that I'm a fan of Thrive Themes. These are two different companies. Okay, just because there's the word Thrive doesn't mean they're the same thing. So ThriveCart basically does everything, okay? And it does it really, really well. It gives you some nice analytics. You got coupons, funnels, upsells, everything that you would expect from a full-featured shopping cart. One cool thing about it right now is that it is available on a lifetime plan, which means you basically pay once for it and you have it for life. So I've actually personally owned ThriveCart for probably at least 3 years. I went for probably a good 2 years not using it, but of course now I'm running all of my sales through ThriveCart, and I'll be able to do that in perpetuity because I have a lifetime account. So it's really good. Now the other thing to mention about ThriveCart is that it is pretty much built for information marketers. Now you can sell CDs and books and stuff like that through it because it does have integrations for print on demand and those types of things. But this is not a traditional shopping cart where you can add multiple items to your cart and buy everything at the same time. For those types of things, I would recommend you go with WooCommerce. Okay, WooCommerce has a lot of flexibility and it's a solid platform. I personally went with ThriveCart because it's super simple. I like being able to offload the responsibility for making all this work onto somebody else and just trust that it's going to work. Okay, I want my business to be simple, so I use ThriveCart. Now, moving along, the glue which holds everything together really is called WP Fusion. I run the core of the membership off of this plugin. Okay, what it basically does, the reason it's got the word fusion in it, is because you're taking your CRM, which is your email list host essentially, and it's fusing it with WordPress so that the data goes back and forth between them, okay? And so when somebody opts into my list, they're getting a member profile inside my system. It's automatic, okay? Likewise, when somebody buys something through ThriveCart, ThriveCart will send that information to WP Fusion. That's what creates the member profile and the whole 9 yards. So WP Fusion also does all the content protection. So the way that I make sure that only my pro members can access courses and the starter members can't is WP Fusion. So essentially, this is my membership plugin. It's just not technically a membership site plugin because usually for membership site plugins, you'd be thinking like Wishlist Member, MemberPress, stuff like that, where you can manage their accounts and everything. With this, it's basically a way of making different plugins all work together and fused and work as a cohesive whole. And so it's a different way of going about it. It happens to have content protection built right in. If they don't have access to particular content based on the tag on their profile, I can route them to a call to action page, give them an error, whatever it is I want to do. You got a lot of flexibility. So I'm a massive fan of WP Fusion. I think it's like the Swiss Army knife of marketing for anything on top of WordPress, and I highly recommend it. Moving on, Drip. Drip is my CRM, okay? It would be the equivalent of something like ActiveCampaign, and it works really, really nicely with WP Fusion. I would say that it's right up there with ActiveCampaign in terms of just how well it works with WP Fusion. Now, WP Fusion works with other ones like ConvertKit and MailerLite and a bunch of the other ones out there. I use Drip. It works out really well, and yeah, we'll just leave it at that. Moving on. LearnDash is what I use for all of my online courses. Now, as a Thrive Themes guy, you might wonder, why do I not use Thrive Apprentice? Well, that's because Thrive Apprentice just doesn't do as much, okay? Thrive Apprentice really is not a full learning management system. All it does is help structure your online courses. And on top of that, it's a little limited in how you can present them. LearnDash is much more full-featured, pretty much does everything. I mean, really any type of online learning site, you can pretty much do it on top of LearnDash. So it was definitely worth it for me. It also integrates beautifully with BuddyBoss so that everything just looks great. I'm not having to use default LearnDash short codes and all that kind of stuff. BuddyBoss just takes it and makes it look great. And pretty much everything about the way that courses look inside the lab is all done with BuddyBoss using LearnDash as the back end. Okay. Next up is Vimeo. All of my video hosting right now is through Vimeo. And so there's Vimeo Pro, which you're going to need at a minimum in order to host, your online course videos with Vimeo. And last I looked, I think it's like $199 a year. So it's not that bad. I actually recently upgraded to the premium version, so it gives me the live streaming. I'm also currently looking into the use of a new product called Presto Player. I'll talk more about that one later, a little too early for at the moment. But right now I am using Vimeo, and basically there's probably close to 1,000 videos inside the lab. They're all sitting on top of the Vimeo platform, okay? And that works out really nicely. Okay, moving on. In terms of page builders, now obviously BuddyBoss controls the overall look and feel of the site, but then on the individual page by page basis, you're kind of up to the normal stuff to create those pages. Now you could use the block editor, which is built right into WordPress, or you can use a page builder. I'm a big fan of using a real, page builder. Now I happen to have 2 page builders installed on the lab, because I have one that works pretty well and has some integrations to it, and then I've got the one that I prefer. Let's first go to the one that I prefer. As you probably know, that's Thrive Architect. Thrive Architect is from Thrive Themes. It's part of the Thrive suite. I use Thrive Architect all the time. I'm super fast with it. I think it's extremely streamlined. I really love this page builder. And so I use it because any, landing pages inside the lab, anything where I just want to be able to do some drag and drop placement of elements, I'll use Thrive Architect because I'm super fast with it. But the thing is, it doesn't do everything. Its major weak point right now is the fact that it has no integrations with anything outside of Thrive Themes. It integrates beautifully with other parts of the Thrive suite, as you would expect, but it won't integrate with anything else. And so for that reason, I also have Elementor installed inside the lab. Elementor is a solid builder. It actually has a lot of interface similarities with Thrive Architect. In fact, when I first saw it, I thought they were copying one another, and it was weird, but I don't think they are. It's a very different product, and I don't like the editing experience as much as Elementor, but its really cool thing is the fact that it has integration with third parties. Namely, BuddyBoss has elements for it specifically that you can use with Elementor, and so is the same with WP Fusion. And so as a page builder that you want to work with other plugins as well, Elementor is pretty good. And so I have 2 installed. It works out fine, and they don't conflict with one another. In some cases I use Thrive Architect. When I need the integrations, I use Elementor. Okay, now in terms of the live classroom inside the lab, where we got the live video feed and then we have the chat. Now the live video feed is coming from Vimeo, okay, and it's using the high-end Vimeo premium account because I can live stream directly to it, okay? For the chat, I am using chatroll.com, and this is it's a nice web-based chat room, works out really well. And you basically pay for it based on the volume of simultaneous chatters you think you're going to have. Now, the cool thing I like about this one, and the reason I picked it, is because they've got a plugin for WordPress that will integrate it right in with your site. And it does more than just the embed. It literally integrates it right in with the WordPress user system. And that is how I don't have to have members log in or enter their name manually or anything like that to go into the chat room. As long as they're logged into the lab, they're logged into the chat room, and it's all a completely seamless experience. Okay, now on the back end, there's some stuff going on that you guys will not see. Okay, you'll see some of it, but here's the thing. Advanced Custom Fields is a really important plugin for the way the lab works. It's how I turn WordPress into stuff that it wasn't really designed to do. And namely, the big thing here is, there's some custom fields, like for example, the Vimeo embed code. Like I could use the block editor and stick my lesson videos into a LearnDash lesson. I happen to have a custom field for that because it makes my life easier and I can control exactly where it goes. The whole credit system for services inside the lab is based on fields that I created with Advanced Custom Fields. So it's a powerful plugin. You can create custom fields on anything that you want inside WordPress of multiple types. You can control the interface and make the admin screen more or less look the way that you want. And then on the front end, you have to usually couple this with some code that will output those custom fields in the way that you want. And so in order to make the most use of advanced custom fields, you do need to have some development experience or have somebody help you out, because otherwise it's limited in how useful it is. So, but I use advanced custom fields and really, really like it. Another one you can check out is called Admin Columns. Now, the Admin Columns plugin I use to create custom admin screens with a different selection of columns based on what I want to see. One example of that would be my users screen inside of WordPress. Obviously, with a membership site, there's going to be a lot of fields, okay? And I'm not going to display all those fields for users on one table. It'll be just too much, okay? So you can actually create different versions of the user screen for different purposes. I created some for credits, so I can just select a screen and say, show me all the members that have more than one strategy session credit, or show me everybody that has tech credits. And I can just easily pull that up without having to do a bunch of manual stuff. And I use admin columns for that. Now, I have the pro version, and one of the reasons I got that is because it integrates with the Advanced Custom Fields plugin, so that I can actually create screens based on my custom fields that I created with Advanced Custom Fields and really make all this stuff work. This is how you make WordPress into some stuff that you probably haven't thought of yet, because it's actually a very customizable product. You just have to have the tools that'll let you do it. Okay. Moving on to forms. Obviously, every membership site is going to have forms, for data entry of various kinds. For the longest time, actually, as of this recording, I still am, I am using Gravity Forms, okay? And that's a solid option. However, I recently purchased this called WP Fluent Forms. I actually like it a lot better, and I will be switching everything to it and getting rid of Gravity Forms. It has nothing to do with cost for me. It's simply that I like this plugin better. I think it's got a much better interface. I also am I have a license to Fluent CRM, which is the same people. Those two products work together real nicely. And so I think that I'm going to enjoy this plugin a lot more. I'm going to be switching everything to it. That's called WP Fluent Forms. And it looks really nice, and the interface just is better. It just looks more professional than Gravity Forms. So yeah, check it out. Okay, moving on. ConvertBox. Now, ConvertBox is one of my favorite web tools out there. At first glance, it might seem like just an opt-in form system, but it does so much more than that, okay? One of its biggest things is the fact that it can communicate directly with your CRM. You can actually control calls to action based on tags on their profile. The other thing is that it doesn't only have to do opt-in forms. So you can use it inside of a membership site for things like member announcements, for custom calls to actions if you want to give them, say, an upgrade offer or congratulate them for finishing something. You could do those types of things with ConvertBox. You would not think it, but you absolutely can. All you need to do is, depending on what they're doing, you add or remove tags from their profile on the fly, and you could trigger calls to action using ConvertBox. So it's really, really cool. Now, the other thing is, because ConvertBox is a hosted piece of software, that means that you can make what's going on inside the membership jive with whatever calls to action they see out in the main site. And so if I want to have calls to action on blogmarketingacademy.com and exempt them from lab members, I can do that, okay? I could also have calls to action on the public site that would remind members of things like, hey, you got an office hours coming up in a few weeks, because I know they're a member, okay? So there's really cool things that you can do with ConvertBox. It is a really, really flexible tool when you get right down to it. So I like it a lot. And it's currently available on a lifetime plan, just like ThriveCart. All right, a few more honorable mentions for some smaller plugins that I also use. We've got the PDF Embedder plugin. This is for embedding PDF files. This is what I use for the document vault. Now, I actually have the premium version of this, which was dirt cheap, but it allows things like clickable links in the PDF files, an easier download link so people can download those PDF files, stuff like that. So that's really handy for a membership or even a public site. There's one called DynamicConditions. This plugin allows you to pretty much take your widgets and gives you a whole list of things that you can assign if-else logic to them, that you can display widgets in certain places, not other widgets. The main place I'm using this right now is if I want to display widgets only on specific courses inside the lab, but not on other ones. And I found that this plugin, which is totally free, I'm not paying for it, fits the bill real nicely. Moving on, Enable Media Replace will allow you to take files that are in your media library already and simply replace the file if you're actually just putting an update out there. Whereas you won't have to go and change links to those files any place. You'll literally just replace the file, keep the same file name, and it's really, really convenient. The Imagify plugin is what I use on all of my sites actually for optimizing images as I upload them. So that just gets the file size down, reduces the bandwidth, makes the site load faster, things like that. We've got Pretty Links, which is really popular with affiliate marketers, and that is primarily what I use it for. It's a way to create my own branded links that point them out to other places. So there's two ways of using this. One is for affiliate links, if you want to have those affiliate links go through your own domain. The second is if you want to have simple redirect links that will allow you to change link URLs in one spot and fix it across the board. So Pretty Links is really handy to have, and I use it on both the public side and the lab itself. Lastly, we've got Sugar Calendar. This is what I use as the event calendar inside the lab. It's actually put out by the same people behind Easy Digital Downloads, if you're familiar with that. But it's a really nice, simple event calendar for the lab. And I like it. I mean, there's a few interface things I wish it did a little bit differently, but it fits the bill for me. So that's Sugar Calendar. Okay, that was a lot of plugins, right? And there's also one of the biggest reasons why I'm a pretty big believer in having your membership site and your public blog be two separate WordPress installations, because obviously a membership site's got a lot more going on. You're going to probably have a lot more plugins installed, and sometimes the plugins are a little bit more beefy. And they're only going to be pertinent to members. So why run that alongside a blog where speed is much more important for SEO purposes, and you don't need all that overhead. So that's a big reason why the lab is separate from the main Blog Marketing Academy, and you can now see pretty much how the thing works. Now coming up here, like I said, I am going to be checking out Presto Player. It looks kind of promising, possibly as a Vimeo alternative. I am going to be looking into, I call it GamiPress or whatever, but it's basically a gamification plugin for WordPress. I have a few potential ideas on that. And so, this software stack does evolve. This is definitely not the first stack that I landed on. This thing's been through a bunch of different evolutions, okay? But that's what I'm using today. Hopefully that was helpful to you. Feel free to check those things out. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comments. If you're on blogmarketingacademy.com right now, then below I've got more information about these plugins. I've got direct links to them, also some of my reviews so you can get more in depth into them. And then if you're at a point where you just want some help or some consultation with regard to putting your membership site together, don't forget that I do offer both strategy session calls and as well as technical services, where basically we'll just get in there and do it for you. Now, I set those up specifically to be super flexible, so they're using the credit system that I just sort of showed you how that works. So you basically just purchase credits, they don't expire, and there's no long-term commitments, and that's kind of the way I like it. It's simple for you, or me, and simple for you. So anyway, if you want some help putting the plumbing of your membership site together, check out those two options. I'll link to them below. Hopefully that was helpful. I'll see you next time.